back to the Heathkit IG-102 this time. Good afternoon, YouTube, on a Monday, 1/16 here in DERB land. Basically, I'm here on the bench, at the bench, somewhere in the proximity of the bench to actually do some work. I had the soldering iron heating up. The switch is here on the bench. That's what we're going to be looking at. And we're going to see if we can get this ready to go and ready to install back into the IG-102. I figure it's time. Probably past time. That's okay. I don't care. You know, it is what it is. You know, no sense in crying over spilt milk, as it were. Like I said, I think most, you know, judging by the number of videos that I've been watching from different people, I think the malaise is spreading because of the winter. I don't know if it's just the winter or just the time of the year or what it is, but I think there's a lot of people that are not doing what they usually do because just the number of videos I've been watching. There just haven't been that many from people I subscribe to. Normally, I can go in and spend, you know, most of the morning catching up on videos that people are posting. Even Bill, now I understand Bill had some, or Tommy had some problems, Bill, and I understand that, so I understand why you don't feel like making videos. I perfectly understand it. So, you know, not a big deal, but like I said, I after watching videos most of the morning and deciding, you know, decided to come in here and just maybe try to get this back together and see if it will do some output. I think that's the best thing. On the Linux version versus Windows on the webcam, I think most people have seen or heard my thoughts on that. I think it is just the way that Windows and Linux deals with the dropouts in the audio from that microphone. There's obviously dropouts in that microphone because if you listen to the Windows, you'll hear it as a hollow sounding, you know, I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it, but it's basically, well, you can hear the dropouts. I mean, you can just plain hear it in the audio. And Linux's way of dealing with that is to break up the audio as, you know, distorted, and that's the way it handles it, and that's the way Windows handles it. So, you know, the problem is the dropouts in the microphone there, and that's purely hardware. So I don't think there's anything you can do about it. It's not that bad in Linux. I mean, you can understand what I'm saying. You know, if you couldn't understand what I was saying, it might be different, but you can understand it, and so I'm not going to worry about it too much, and we'll go from there. If I use the camera back here, it will be with Windows, so it may sound a little bit better. Most people seem to think the Windows version sounded better. So, like I say, that's no big deal. That's that. Like I say, the next thing I'm going to do is, like I say, I've got that heating up. I'm going to turn the other camera on, and we'll start working on this. First thing I want to do is get that reattached, and then I'm going to extend that. And once I get those two jobs done, then we will get the signal generator up here on the bench as well, and start putting it back together. So hang on, we'll get right to it. Alright, we're back on the bench here, and we have the switch, rotary switch for the IG-102. And get my solder out here. The first thing I want to do, like I said already, is this, and I'm going to take and turn you guys around so you can kind of watch, you know, what I'm doing, and you know, can see. But basically, I want to get that down where it was underneath that. Here's a little catch right there, and I'll have to use my magnification lamp, I do believe, to get that where it needs to go. And once I do that, then yeah, right in there. I think I've got it in there. So let me look at that and get that done. And I'll tell you, I'll just bring you back and when I get it soldered. How's that? I mean, you guys seen me solder things a million times, so there's no sense in doing that. I got to find a clear path for my soldering iron to get over here. I still got this laying on the bench. put that off to the side because I don't really need that. And make sure I have a clear path for my soldering iron to get here, and I do. Clean the tip off real good there, and it's cleaned off. So let me put you aside and we'll get this done. Alright, back with you again. I have the wire attached to the other wire. Basically, I'm using the coil method on that to wrap it around there, and I'm going to solder it. And once I do that, it will be securely in place, I believe. That's my belief. And that's what I'm going with, no matter what. See if I can solder this on camera. So this, you can see me solder something. One thing I like about the coil method is it makes the heat radiate over the wire much better, I think. And it gets you a better connection. Now a little shrink tube on that. And we'll have that, done. Probably put the shrink tube on first, and then we'll cut it to length later on once I get it back where it's got to go, and we can put it whatever size we want to put it. So that's the plan on that. So let me put some shrink wrap on it and get that done, and we'll be one step closer. Alright, well there you can see it is got shrink tubing on it. It's covered, everything's covered like it should be. So that's good. And we're one step closer. So the next thing I need to do, I don't know if I even showed you, did I show you the solder for that? I think I did, I can't remember. Anyway, that's soldered. This is ready to go, and we're needing the framework for the signal generator back up on the bench, and then we'll check it out and see what we need to do from there. Alright, well what we've got here is exactly what we've wanted to get here. Is the I'll put some of these back in so it doesn't hang out in my face, and this will go here like so. Let me take that knob off so we can get that done. I think I gotta unscrew it. That would be the preferable way of getting it off. Alright, got that off now. Like I say, that goes, not sure which one it goes in, but whichever one it is. See now, that screw went somewhere and I don't even know where it went. Was it the top hole or was it this hole? I think it was this hole. Yeah, I think that's the one that goes in. Like that, and that screw, that plane goes right there, and everything should be hunky-dory then. Just got a matter of hooking everything back up. Before I go too much further, I want to put a nut on there and just hold that in there so I'll know where I've got to be with everything. I can get my lengths cut, and I'll take it back out, cut it, and strip it, and do all the other stuff I need to do to it. Let's take a look at it and see. Okay, right there, if you look at the, right there, boy, it was close to being long enough to get there, but I'd rather have a little more than, than that. So I think if I do about an inch, I can maneuver that in there then, and get that like it should be. Now I don't know if that's thinking maybe I should just go ahead and try to melt that solder off and get that a little cleared up before I even do that. May do that as soon as I take that switch back out. The rest of it, let's see, it's pretty easy to line up, I think. Let's see, we've got the resistor goes there, that goes there, that goes there, and this wire here goes here, and that should be just about it, except for the like I say, the what do you call it has to go in. But other than that, that's about it. I've got to find that screw. That's going to be the hard part, I think, finding that little screw and getting it back in. So I guess we better do that first. So like I said, I need to take that back out and cut that wire off. I'm gonna cut it, give it about an inch I think. Maybe cut it around here somewhere and then strip it back. I think it should be fine. If I have to wrap it around there a couple times, that wouldn't hurt anything at all. But like I said, I want to get that blob of solder off first. And that's probably a joining of this to that. And get a little bit of that off. I'll use some solder sucker, solder wick. Get that off there a little bit, and maybe I'll get a better connection that way. I hope. Maybe there may be a lug, open lug there. I can't remember. Well, I don't remember, but I mean, I don't know if that was an open lug or if it's just a wraparound type connection there or what. You guys even seeing what I'm looking at? I don't think so. But anyway, this here, I want to get the solder blob off a little bit and then see what's the kind of connection that is. If there's a hole there for that lug, or if it's just a wraparound thing there for that to hook onto. That'll give me an idea more of what I should be doing with it, I believe. So those are everything else seems to be okay. I've got the other switches down here on the bench just sort of hanging out, and that's all they need to do for right now until I get the faceplate back on. I want to clean that faceplate before I put it back on. I don't even see it anymore. Oh, there it is. It's got a lot of glue on it. Not glue. WD-40. Things like that. I want to clean all that off, and then we'll put it back together. So that'll work. I know you guys wasn't seeing it, but it's laying over there. Alright, let me get that switch back off, unscrew it, and then cut the wire, get that stripped off, and get everything ready to hook back up, and find that little screw for the tuning condenser there. And once I get all that done, then I can start working again. So alright, back once more again. I have the I think you can see it here. Let's see, where am I at? Here is the screw in there. It is tight. All that is good. I have not got anything else done yet, but I'm getting ready to, as you can see down here, this is ready to line out. I've got that all cleaned off and everything. There's a nice hole right there. It is a hole instead of a wraparound. So we'll get that through the hole, solder that, and that'll be done. That will just leave the back connections, and then we can get around there and do those. So stay tuned. Alright, back once more. I have everything wired up now. As you can see here, that's nice and soldered. This is soldered back like it was, and that's soldered back like it should be. If we continue on around here, this is soldered to this place here. That's where it goes. This is soldered to here. That's where it goes. The resistor solders to there. It is soldered in nice and tight, and as well as this wire is soldered there. So we are all back together now as far as the rotary switch is concerned. I have the switch tight. I made sure I got it tightened up, these little screws here, so it's plenty tight, and it is ready to rock and roll. And I already showed you the screw on the front of that, so we're gonna go there again. What I want to do next is clean that faceplate off, and we'll go from there. But I want to get it back attached to the faceplate, because there's a couple of controls that are just sort of hanging out in the breeze, and I want to make sure those are back like they're supposed to be. And once I get that done, then we will do a test. A test to see if this darn thing will work. Back again. It's 2:48 now in the afternoon. As you can see, the what do you call it is back together. Pan down a little bit there. You can see that. And I don't have either one of these in here. I'm going to be replacing these with BNCs, but I haven't done that yet. I wanted to try it out first. I do have the after all that, and I still don't have the light on there. I just now noticed that too. That's got to go up here. Not the light, but the lens for the light. It's got to go in. It's laying over there, so it's no big deal. But after all that, you see how this is pointed? This is on B. There's C, there's D, and there's E, and there's F. So this is wrong. This is not the right knob for it either, but It's somewhere around here. Oh, there it is. It would be the same because these knobs are all the same when it comes to how they're pointing. Couple options. I can take this off and replace it around the other side. Or you're not listening. I can take this silver part off, or go around the other side and do that, and that would fix that. Probably, I'm not going to take that switch apart. Let's put it that way. But anyway, everything else is hooked up and pretty much ready to test. I just now noticed I have one Star Wars here left. I really need to go back in and find out how they're supposed to go. I know there was, I could tell from the back that there was a couple, or not couple, but one on here. You could see the indentations on the case. And I figured it, being as that one had one, this one probably had one also. But one of these has two, where the other one has one. And I'm thinking now, being as I found this fourth one, maybe that they were supposed to go on some other ones as well. I don't know. But I didn't see any indentations in the rest of the case. And so that's that. Now, I was planning on testing this, but as you can see very clearly there, that tube is missing. There's a good reason for that. Let me show you. I told you, I think once before, or maybe a couple times before, that there was a problem every time I would lay this over, this tube would get bent over. Well, it got bent over once too often. So you can see, I think, it is broke. There's a split right there, it goes around here, and this half of this, is broke off. You can see the pin. Well, that's a better look at it right there. But yeah, it's broke. This is a 12 AT7, so I'm going to have one of those. I don't know if I've got one around here that I can use, but if nothing else, when the other IG-102 gets here, I'll have one then. So that will have to be delayed until I can find a replacement tube for that. And hopefully I can remember to keep taking the tubes out instead of leaving them in there. Now, it never did affect the 6A and 8 tube at all, so it's fine. But like I said, the output for this is right here down at the bottom. If you can see that down there. That little capacitor right there. It goes over to the output on the BNC when I put the BNC back on. That's where it will go, and I think the ground is just grounded to the chassis here, so because it's grounded, and so I think that's the way that works. Everything else is looking pretty good. I'll go ahead and finish up the lens for the pilot light here, and put my BNCs in, like I said, and that should get it going. But like I said, it's the way it is right now. It's not going to work. Alright, now that's in. I can screw my light bulb back in. Also, while we're up here looking at this, I said something about the, and I was so stupid. I said something about the writing on this being faded out from heat. Well, yeah, there is heat. There's a light bulb right there. I guess you guys was probably laughing about that, but I just wasn't putting two and two together, I guess, but it happens sometimes. So that's in there, and should be working. So, like I say, next step, finding me another tube and get the rest of the little jobs done. As you can see, I did clean up good too, by the way. That faceplate, I thought, looks nice. Very nice. So anyway, waiting on the other stuff, and all the rest of it's hooked up, ready to go, and happy about that. So that's that. You guys have a pleasant day. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you.